Hello students, welcome back to a new video of Sunanda's tutorial. So in this video I will discuss about the chapter 3 of 12th class NCERT Biology book, that is Human Reproduction in Human Being. In my previous videos I have already discussed about the chapter 1, which is reproduction in organisms, then chapter 2, reproduction in flowering plants, and in this video I will discuss human reproduction, details about human reproduction line by line. So in this first paragraph it is mentioned that the reproductive event in human include formation of gametes in the process of gametogenesis, that is sperms in male and ovum in female, transfer of sperm into female genital tract in the process of insemination, then fusion of male and female gamete in the process of fusion leading to formation of zygote, then blastocyst is formed and its attachment to uterine wall in the process of implantation, then embryonic development in the process of gestation and delivery of the baby in the process of parturition. So the humans are sexually reproducing and viviparous. Viviparous means where the internal fertilization occur inside the female body and the growth of young individual occur inside the mother's womb, and they give birth to their young ones in case of viviparous. And what is oviparous? They lay egg and finally the egg is hatched out upon maturity. So that is the case of oviparous, but human being are viviparous organism. Then reproductive event generally occur after the puberty, that means by attaining certain maturity. There are remarkable differences between reproductive events in male and female. For example, sperm formation continues even in old men, but formation of ovum ceases in women around the age of 50 years when the menopause occurs. So at first we will discuss about the male reproductive system. Male reproductive system is located in the pelvis region, as shown in case of figure 3.1. It includes a pair of testes along with accessory ducts, glands and external genitalia. The testes are situated outside the abdominal cavity within a pouch called scrotum. It is the scrotum. The scrotum helps in maintaining the lower temperature of testes, generally 2 to 2.5 degrees Celsius lower than the normal internal body temperature, which is necessary for spermatogenesis, sperm formation. In adults, each testis is oval in shape with a length of about 4 to 5 centimeter and width of 2 to 3 centimeter. The testis is covered by a dense covering, and each testis has about 250 compartments called testicular lobules. Remember this term, testicular lobule. Testis is situated inside a pouch called scrotum and testicular lobule. That means each testis has more than 250 compartments called testicular lobules, as which is comparable to that ovule. As in a ovary many ovules are present, so inside testis many lobules are present that are known as testicular lobules. Each lobule contains 1 to 3 highly coiled seminiferous tubules. Then in which sperms are produced. So sperms are produced inside seminiferous tubules. Each seminiferous tubules is lined on its inside by two types of cell. One is male germ cell and the second one is Sertoli cells. Male germ cells undergo meiotic division or reductional division, where diploid cell is reduced to a haploid cell to form sperm, while Sertoli cell provides nutrition to the germ cell. The regions outside seminiferous tubules are called interstitial spaces, contain small blood vessels and interstitial cells called Leydig cells. Leydig cells synthesize and secrete testicular hormones called androgens. So, androgens produced by the Leydig cells. Other immunologically competent cells are also present. Then the male sex accessory ducts inside, including retted testis, vasa efferentia, epididymis and vas deferens. The seminiferous tubules of testis open into vasa efferentia through retted testis. So seminiferous tubules in which sperms are produced, it is open to vasa efferentia through retted testis. Vasa efferentia leave testis and open into epididymis located along the posterior surface of each testis. So vasa efferentia leave testis and then enter into epididymis, which is located along the posterior surface of each testis. The epididymis leads to vas deferens that ascends to abdomen and loops over the urinary bladder. The epididymis leads to vas deferens that ascends to the abdomen and loops over the urinary bladder. It receives duct from seminal vesicle and open into the urethra as ejaculatory duct. These ducts store and transport sperms from testis to outside through urethra. Okay. The urethra originates from urinary bladder and extends through the penis to external opening called urethral meatus. So remember all these terms as these are very, very important. So it is the diagrammatic sectional view of seminiferous tubules inside which the sperms are produced. Then the penis is the male external genitalia or reproductive organ which is made up of a special tissue which helps in the erection of penis during the insemination, or it facilitates the insemination. The enlarged end of penis is called glans penis, which is covered by a loose fold of skin called foreskin. The male accessory gland include paired seminal vesicle, a prostate and a bulbourethral gland. Secretions of these glands constitute seminal plasma, which is rich in fructose, calcium and certain enzymes. The secretions of bulbourethral gland also helps in the lubrication of the penis. So it is all about your male reproductive system. Now the female reproductive system. Female reproductive system consists of a pair of ovaries along with pair of oviduct, uterus, cervix, vagina and the external genitalia located in the pelvic region. These parts of system along with a pair of mammary glands are integrated structurally and functionally to support the process of ovulation, fertilization, pregnancy, birth and child care. The ovaries are the primary female sex organ that produce female gamete, which is ovum, and several steroid hormones are also present in ovary. Ovary are located on each side of lower abdomen. Each ovary is about 2 to 4 centimeter in length. Each ovary is about 2 to 4 centimeter in length and connected to pelvic wall and uterus by ligaments. Each ovary is covered by thin epithelium which encloses the ovarian stroma. The stroma is divided into two zones, a peripheral cortex and inner medulla. It is the diagrammatic sectional view of human female pelvic region showing the female reproductive system. The oviduct, which is fallopian tube, uterus and vagina, constitute the female accessory ducts. Each fallopian tube is about 10 to 12 centimeter long and extends from the periphery of each ovary to the uterus. The part closer to ovary is funnel-shaped infundibulum like this, and they have many projections called fimbriae. Here it is the fimbriae, which helps in the collection of ovum after ovulation. So here it is the ovary. The ovary produce the ovum. After the production, this fimbriae helps in the collection of ovum after ovulation. Then the infundibulum leads to a wider part of oviduct called ampulla. It is the ampulla. The last part of oviduct, isthmus, have narrow lumen and it's joined to uterus. Isthmus finally joins to uterus. The uterus is a single and it is called womb. Uterus is single and called womb. The shape of uterus is like inverted pear. It is supported by ligaments attached to pelvic wall. The uterus opens to vagina through narrow cervix. The cavity of cervix called cervical canal. The wall of uterus has 3-layered tissue. The external called perimetrium, middle myometrium, inner endometrium. It is very, very important. Inner endometrium, inner, so endometrium. Outer is peri, that is perimetrium, and the middle one is myometrium. Remember these terms. And it lines the uterine cavity. The endometrium undergoes cyclical changes during menstrual cycle, while the myometrium exhibits strong contraction during delivery of the baby. This is a very, very important point. The female external genitalia includes mons pubis, labia majora, labia minora, hymen and clitoris. These are externally observable parts. Mons pubis is the cushion of fatty tissue covered by skin and pubic hair. Labia majora is fleshy folds of tissue which extends down from mons pubis and surrounds the vaginal opening. Labia minora are paired folds of tissues under labia majora. The opening of vagina is often covered partially by a membrane called hymen. The clitoris is a tiny finger-like structure which lies at the upper junction of two labia minora above the urethral opening. Hymen often torn during the first coitus or intercourse. However, it can also be broken by sudden fall or jolt, insertion of vaginal tampon, active participation of some sports like horseback riding, cycling. In some women, the hymen persists even after coitus. In fact, presence or absence of hymen is not reliable indicator of virginity or sexual experience. Then mammary gland, which is also a part of female reproductive system. So in the figure 3.4, the diagrammatic representation of the sectional view of mammary gland is there. A functional mammary gland is characteristic of all female mammals. The mammary gland are paired structure breast that contain glandular tissue and variable amount of fat. The glandular tissue of each breast is divided into mammary lobes. Mammary lobes are present. Mammary lobes containing cluster of cells called alveoli. As lungs, these mammary glands also have alveoli. The cells of alveoli secrete milk, which is stored in cavities of alveoli or lumen of alveoli inside that alveoli. Alveoli open into mammary tubules. The tubules of each lobe joins to form mammary duct. Mammary duct. Several mammary ducts join to form wider mammary ampulla, which is connected to lactiferous ducts through which milk is sucked out, and newborn baby get their nutrition from this mammary gland. Then gametogenesis. The primary sex organ is testis in male and ovaries in female. They produce the gametes, that is sperm and ovum respectively, by the process of gametogenesis. In testis, immature male germ cell or spermatogonia produce sperms by the process of spermatogenesis. Spermatogonia or spermatogonium in singular present on the inside the wall of seminiferous tubules, multiply by mitotic division and increase in number. The spermatogonium is diploid and contains 46 number of chromosome, which is normal chromosome number in human cells. Some of the spermatogonia called primary spermatocytes periodically undergo meiosis. A primary spermatocyte completes the first meiotic division, leading to formation of two equal haploid cells called secondary spermatocyte, which have only 23 chromosomes each. The secondary spermatocyte undergoes second meiotic division to produce 4 equal haploid spermatids. The spermatids transform to form spermatozoa or sperms by the process of spermiogenesis. After spermiogenesis, sperm heads become embedded in Sertoli cell and finally released from seminiferous tubules by the process of spermiation. So, from primary spermatocytes, secondary spermatocytes are formed, and then from secondary spermatocytes, spermatids are formed. Then upon transformation from spermatids, spermatozoa or sperms are produced by the process of spermiogenesis. After spermiogenesis, sperms have heads, and it become embedded in the Sertoli cells, which provide the nutrition, and finally released from the seminiferous tubule by the process of spermiation. Spermatogenesis starts at the age of puberty due to significant increase in the secretion of gonadotropin releasing hormone, that is GnRH. This if you recall, the hypothalamic hormone. The increased level of this gonadotropin releasing hormone act at the interior pituitary gland and stimulate secretion of two gonadotropin. One is luteinizing hormone LH and follicle stimulating hormone FSH. Luteinizing hormone acts as Leydig cell and stimulates synthesis and secretion of androgen. Androgen in turn stimulate the process of spermatogenesis. Spermatogenesis means the formation of sperm. Then follicle stimulating hormone FSH act on the Sertoli cell and stimulate the secretion of some factor which helps in the process of spermiogenesis. Spermiogenesis means the transformation of spermatids to form sperms. Let us examine the structure of sperm. So it is the structure of sperm. A typical sperm have a head, neck, middle piece and a tail. A plasma membrane envelopes the whole body of sperm. Sperm head contains elongated haploid nucleus, the anterior portion of which is covered by a cap-like structure called acrosome. Acrosome is filled with the enzyme that helps in the fertilization of the ovum, because finally the egg or ovum is fertilized by the sperm. Middle piece possesses numerous mitochondria which produce energy for the movement of tail that facilitate sperm motility essential for fertilization. Human male generally ejaculates about 200 to 300 sperms during coitus, of which for normal fertility 60% of sperms must have normal shape and size. At least 40% of them must show vigorous motility. So it is the ideal condition. or ideal environment for fertilization. Sperms released from the seminiferous tubules and transported by the accessory ducts. Secretions of epididymis, vas deferens, seminal vesicle and postate are essential for maturation and motility of sperms. The seminal plasma along with sperms constitute the semen. The function of male sex accessory ducts and glands are maintained by testicular hormones which are known as androgens. Then the process of formation of mature female gamete called oogenesis, which is markedly different from your spermatogenesis. Oogenesis is initiated during embryonic development stage when couple of million gamete mother cells are formed within each fetal ovary. No more oogonia are formed and added after birth. These cells start division and enter into prophase 1 of the meiotic division and get temporarily arrested at the stage called primary oocyte. Each primary oocyte then gets surrounded by a layer of granulosa cell and called the primary follicle. A large number of these follicles degenerate during the phase of birth to puberty. Therefore, at puberty, only 60,000 to 80,000 primary follicles left at each ovary. The primary follicles get surrounded by more layers of granulosa cells and new theca called secondary follicle. The secondary follicle soon transform into tertiary follicle, which is characterized by fluid filled cavity called antrum. The theca layer organized into inner theca, interna and outer theca, externa. It is important to draw your attention that it is at this stage the primary oocyte within tertiary follicle grows in size, completes its first meiotic division. It is an unequal division resulting in the formation of large haploid oocyte and tiny fast polar body. The secondary oocyte retain bulk of the nutrient rich cytoplasm and the primary oocyte. Does this fast polar body born out of fast meiotic division divide further or degenerate? At present, we are very certain about this. The tertiary follicle further changes into mature follicle called Graafian follicle. The secondary oocyte forms a new membrane called zona pellucida. Secondary oocyte forms a new membrane called zona pellucida surrounding it. Graafian follicle now ruptures and releases the secondary oocyte from the ovary by the process called ovulation. So it is the diagrammatic representation of spermatogenesis and oogenesis. In case of male, from spermatogonia or male germ cell, primary spermatocytes are formed. Then from primary spermatocytes, after first meiotic division, secondary spermatocytes are formed. Then second meiotic division, from which spermatids are formed. Spermatids undergo transformation to form sperms or spermatozoa, which have haploid number of chromosomes. In case of female, oogonia, after mitotic differentiation form the primary oocyte. Then it undergo meiosis to form secondary oocyte and first polar body. Then ovum is formed and second polar body is formed in adult reproductive life. So it is the difference between your spermatogenesis and oogenesis. Then menstrual cycle. The reproductive cycle in female primates such as monkey, apes and human being called menstrual cycle. The first menstruation begins in the pre-puberty or upon maturation or upon maturity. It is called menarche. The first menstruation called menarche, and after a certain age the menopause occur. That means the complete. That means after menopause no menstruation cycle will occur. In human female, menstruation is repeated at average interval of about 28 to 29 days. The cycle of events starting from one menstruation till the next one is called menstrual cycle. One ovum is released in the process of ovulation during the middle of each menstrual cycle. The major events of menstrual cycle shown in figure 3.9. The cycle starts with menstrual phase. When the menstrual flow occur, it lasts for 3 to 5 days. Menstrual flow results due to breakdown of endometrial lining of the uterus and its blood vessels, which forms liquid that comes out through vagina. Menstruation only occur if released ovum is not fertilized. Lack of menstruation may be the indication of pregnancy. However, it may also be caused due to some other underlying causes like stress, poor health, etc. Menstrual phase is followed by follicular phase. During this phase, the primary follicle in the ovary grow to become fully mature Graafian follicle, and simultaneously the endometrium of uterus regenerate through proliferation. These changes in the ovary and the uterus is induced by the changes in the levels of pituitary and ovarian hormone. The secretion of gonadotropin, that is luteinizing hormone, and follicle stimulating hormone increases gradually during this follicular phase and stimulates the follicular development as well as secretion of estrogen by growing follicle. Both LS, that means luteinizing hormone, and FSH, follicle stimulating hormone, attains a peak level in the middle cycle about 14 days. Rapid secretion of LS leading to its maximum level during mid cycle, called LH surge, induced rupture of Graafian follicle, thereby release of ovum or ovulation. The ovulatory phase or ovulation is followed by luteal phase, during which the remaining parts of Graafian follicle transform as corpus luteum. Corpus luteum secretes large amount of progesterone, which is essential for maintenance of endometrium. Because endometrium is necessary for implantation of fertilized ovum and other events of pregnancy. During pregnancy, all events of menstrual cycle stop and there is no menstruation. In the absence of fertilization, corpus luteum degenerates. This causes in the disintegration of endometrium, leading to menstruation or menstrual flow, marking a new cycle. In human being, menstrual cycle ceases around 50 years of age, that is termed as menopause. After menopause, no menstrual cycle will occur. Cyclic menstruation is an indicator of normal reproductive phase, extends between menarche, which is the first appearance of your menstrual cycle, and menopause, which is the last of, or which is a sign of the cessation or complete of your menstrual cycle. Then fertilization and implantation. Fertilization: during copulation or coitus, semen is released by the penis into vagina by the process of insemination. Motile sperm swims rapidly, pass out the cervix, enter to uterus, finally enter the ampulla region of the fallopian tube. Ovum released by ovary is also transported to ampulla region where fertilization takes place. It occurs only if ovum and sperms are transported simultaneously to the ampullary region. This is the reason why not all copulations lead to fertilization and pregnancy. The process of fusion of sperm with the ovum is called fertilization. During fertilization, sperm comes in contact with the zona pellucida layer of the ovum and induces the changes in the membrane that blocks the entry of additional sperm. Thus, it ensures that only one sperm can fertilize the ovum. The secretion of acrosomes helps in the sperm enter into cytoplasm of ovum through the zona pellucida and plasma membrane. This induces the completion of meiotic division for secondary oocyte. The second meiotic division is also unequal and results in the formation of second polar body and ovum. Soon the haploid nucleus and sperm and that of ovum fuse together to form a diploid zygote. So one haploid ovum and one haploid sperm fuse to form one diploid zygote. So in zygote there will be a normal chromosome number. One has to remember that sex of the baby has been decided at this stage itself. Let us see how. As you know, the chromosome pattern in human female is XX and in case of male it is XY. Therefore, all the haploid gametes produced by ova have sex chromosome X, whereas male gamete or sperm, the sex chromosome can either X or Y. They have two possibilities. Hence 50% sperm carry X chromosome while other 50% carry Y chromosome. After fusion of male and female gametes, zygote would carry either XX or XY because female form XX and male form XY. Either XX will be formed or XY will be formed. So there are two chances. That is why scientifically it is correct to say that the sex of the baby is determined by the father, not by the mother, because the father only produces two types of cells, one X and Y, one is Y. The mitotic division starts as the zygote moves through isthmus of the oviduct called cleavage towards the uterus and forms 2 cell stage, then 4 cell stage, then 8, then 16 daughter cells called blastomeres. From zygote, blastomeres are formed. The embryo with 8 to 16 blastomeres called morula. Morula continue to divide and transform into blastocyst as it moves further into uterus. Blastomeres in blastocyst are arranged into outer layer called trophoblast and inner group of cell attached to trophoblast called inner cell mass. The trophoblast layer then gets attached to endometrium and inner cell mass get differentiated as embryo. After attachment, the uterine cell divides rapidly and covers the blastocyst. As a result, blastocysts become embedded in endometrium of uterus. This is called implantation and leads to pregnancy. Then pregnancy and embryonic development. After implantation, finger-like projection appear on the trophoblast called chorionic villi, which is surrounded by uterine tissue and maternal blood. Chorionic villi and uterine tissue becomes interdigitated with each other and jointly form structural and functional unit between embryo or fetus and maternal body called placenta. The placenta facilitates the supply of oxygen, nutrients to the embryo and removal of carbon dioxide and excretory waste material produced by the embryo. Placenta is connected to the embryo through umbilical cord, which helps in the transport of substance to and from the embryo. Placenta also acts as endocrine tissue, produces several hormones like human chronic gonadotropin, human placental lactogen, estrogen, progesterone. In the latter phase of pregnancy, a hormone called relaxin also secreted by the ovary. This human chronic gonadotropin, human placental lactogen, relaxin produced in the human during pregnancy. In addition, during pregnancy, the level of other hormone like estrogen, progesterone, cortisol, prolactin, thyroxine also increased in several fold in the maternal blood. Increased production of these hormones is essential for supporting the fetal growth or the growth of newborn baby, which supports the fetal growth, metabolic changes in the mother and maintenance of pregnancy. Immediately after implantation, the inner cell mass embryo degenerates differentiates into outer layer called ectoderm and inner layer called endoderm. A mesoderm also formed up between the ectoderm and endoderm. These three layers gives rise to tissues or organ in adults. It needs to mention here that inner cell mass, which is the endoderm, contains certain cell called stem cells, which have the potency to give rise all the tissue and organ. And now they preserve this stem cell during the childbirth for future. Then human pregnancy lasts about 9 months. In human being, after 1 month of pregnancy, embryo heart is formed. The first sign of growing fetus may be noticed by listening the heart sound carefully through the stethoscope. By the end of the 2nd month of pregnancy, fetus develop limb and digits. By the end of 12th week or 1st trimester, most of the major organ system formed. For example, limbs, external genitalia organs are well developed. The first movement of fetus and appearance of hair on the head usually observed during 5th month. By the end of about 24 week or the end of 2nd trimester, the body is covered by fine hairs. Eyelids separate, eyelashes are formed. By end of the 9 months of pregnancy, the fetus is fully developed and is ready for the delivery. Then parturition and lactation. What is parturition? The delivery of the young or fetus or childbirth is called parturition. Parturition is induced by a complex neuroendocrine mechanism. The signal for parturition originate from fully developed fetus and placenta, which induce mild uterine contraction called fetal injection reflex. This trigger release the oxytocin from maternal pituitary. Oxytocin acts as uterine muscle and cause stronger uterine contraction, which in turn stimulates further secretion of oxytocin. The stimulatory reflex between uterine contraction and oxytocin secretion continues, resulting in stronger and stronger contraction. This leads to explosion of the baby out of the uterus through the birth canal in the process of parturition. Soon after the infant is delivered, the placenta is also expelled out the uterus. The mammary gland of the female undergoes differentiation during pregnancy, starts producing milk towards the end of the pregnancy, and the process is called lactation. This helps the mother in feeding the newborn. The milk produced during initial few days of lactation is called colostrum, which contains several antibodies absolutely essential to develop the resistance of the newborn babies. Breastfeeding during the initial period of infant growth is recommended by doctors for bringing up a healthy baby. So it is all about your human reproduction. It is the summary of the overall chapter. I hope you really enjoyed this session and get benefit from it. For getting more videos like this, you have to subscribe my channel, which is Sunanda's tutorial. So stay tuned and enjoy my videos like this. Please like, share with other students, with your friends, and subscribe. Please subscribe my channel Sunanda's tutorial. Thank you.